mound builders. So I know you guys talked a little bit about what they are and who they are and what they did, but can anybody tell me what they learned yesterday? Just something about mounds, mound builders, the coil pot?
Harris, how to read it first.
About like the pots.
What did you learn about the pot?
Well,
That's okay. Want to try your friend? Maybe you want to help her out?
yeah. So I learned that like whenever you roll it up, like kind of looks like a snake, and you have to like wrap it around each other.
Do you remember what that was called?
I know what the pot is called. I know what a coil pot is called.
So yeah,
That's what that is.
that's the technique they use.
Cody?
The easiest way to do it, if you have like a hanger thing, you can rest it on your arms, or you can do it the hard way with your fingers, but you should do it with the one thing, but we're doing it with Play-Doh, so we can't keep it.
And what you told her, I know what our coil pots are made out of. Sometimes they're made out of this clay dust, and they put water on the clay dust, and they mix it up and put like this red powder on it to keep it sturdy, and they roll up the clay, and they're called coils. They wrap them around until the one other side meets, and they just pick the rest of it off and just put pressure on the thing.
Good job.
That's
This
what I
is
was
going to be the best pot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like they like put pressure on it once they have. I know people want to do little houses.
So you all know about the coil pot and how they made it. Does anybody know what the mound builders use the coil pots for?
So like burying people,
Yeah. That's a good answer.
What else could they use them for?
they could use it for like getting water to drink from the lake. That's what I was gonna say too. Carrying dirt in it.
Shaylin?
Carrying dirt in it.
Carrying dirt in it?
That's good.
Tanya?
They could use it for like putting stuff inside.
Okay. Now we're gonna watch a video, okay guys?
These are all good answers. So we're going to watch a video that kind of recaps what you went over yesterday.
I've got a mystery for you today, and it's all about some mounds of dirt. What, doesn't interest you? Let me explain. Ohio is home to some of the most fascinating earthworks. Some of them are effigy mounds, meaning they are shaped to look like an animal, like this one in Granville. Okay, so from the ground it's hard to tell, but go up in the sky and you can kind of see the animal shape. It's called Alligator Mound, but it looks more like a possum with that curly tail. And then there's the spectacular Serpent Mound in Adams County. Super cool. So here's the mystery. There are a bunch of mounds in southern Ohio, but no one knows quite when they were built, or why they were built, or even who built them. As the Alligator Mound showed us, they can be hard to spot. You might think these mounds are just part of the landscape, but they were actually carefully built. This area in Ross County, called Mound City, is part of the Hopewell National Historic Park. It contains at least 23 mounds. Some have been worn down over time, and others were raised by military using the area. The mounds have been reconstructed based on drawings like this from 1848. These drawings were the hard work of Edwin Hamilton Davis and Ephraim George Squire. Neither man started as an archaeologist. Davis was a doctor and Squire a newspaper editor, but together the men surveyed hundreds of mounds in the area. Digging up the mounds is one of the best ways for mysteries to be revealed. What Squire and Davis found was pretty extraordinary. Pieces like this frog-shaped pipe and clay pot are stored at the British Museum. From the artifacts, historians believe these mounds were constructed between 1 and 400 AD. Modern-day archaeologists are still working to solve questions surrounding these artifacts. The archaeologists were able to determine that the mounds are probably related to elaborate funeral services. They believe that the mounds were built by a group of native people who were named the Hopewell, a name taken from Mordecai Hopewell, who owned the land where many of the mounds were first discovered. From what they can tell, the Hopewell people did not live near the mounds. Hopewell villages were often quite small, so the size of these huge mounds suggests the people were able to gather from different settlements to build them together. With Mound City, scientists had more clues to put the pieces together. But with the Alligator Mound and Serpent Mound, mystery still remains. Digging them up didn't reveal any artifacts, and without those to go off of, scientists are left scratching their heads over who built them, why, and even when.
Okay, so now you guys can take your Play-Doh out of its container.
There will be a little bit of sand in it because we're gonna extend the activity a little bit. So if it has sand in it, it's okay.
Hey guys, you guys might have to pull it up out of there.
I got mine out. It came out in a
My
ball.
head's gonna help on mine every time.
Why can't I pull it out?
Need help me with this?
Okay guys, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your lid down and we're gonna use the lids as a base, okay? You need to take your Play-Doh and however many coils you want your pot to be.
So you want me to push it up first?
You don't have to, you can just start pulling it apart, Cody.
You wanna have enough Play-Doh so that way when you make your coil, it's not too thin, but it's also not too thick.
Are these big enough pieces like this?
It should be good. Just start rolling it out and you can adjust it as you roll it out.
So you
too.
guys will start rolling it like this and making a snake. See how I'm doing that?
Yeah. I already did it. How do you got it? You don't do it.
I'm gonna make it a little smaller because you're gonna do it, they're gonna set on top of one another.
Like this?
Okay, so once you guys get your snake rolled out however long you want it, you'll start wrapping it around the lid.
It looks like a snake now.
So see how I did that?
Yeah.
And you'll do that for each coil and you'll just keep putting them on top of one another. Raise your hand if you need help, okay?
And also when you're making your pot, make sure you don't get any holes in it because if the mound builders made pots with holes in it, would they be able to carry the dirt?
How do you make it into a
Or
circle?
water.
How do you make it?
Yes, Ashton.
Like this? Yeah. Keep going up.
I would chunk some of those pieces together. Like see how big mine are?
Can you get this? Start by making a circle on your base. So you want to connect around. Roll that out a little bit more. See how she's stacking on top of her lid?
So do you guys see how I put the two layers together? How I just put them one right top on one another? Everyone see that?
This is good.
How you start doing that?
So you just keep rolling it, Cody. It goes all the way around.
See how it's kind of skinnier?
You're gonna use your lid, Cody, as a base. See how I use my lid?
I know, I didn't realize that, but then this is so, you know,
So like this?
oh no, it's right here. Is this
So when you start stacking it, especially kind of, you're gonna do a small
Is
chunk
this
also.
big enough?
Miss Flinders,
That might be a little bit too big.
I should make it fit. If you don't fit on the bottom, put it on the top, so you have more room.
There's another one. I don't know if
So like it
it's
does more stuff. So you can get done.
like this?
It looks good, Cody.
You have a lot of bits to mound, you think? Trying to,
I don't think it
trying to
does.
build one, so try and make it a little bit.
I'll take some.
Is good enough?
Yeah, you could also, roll it a little bit more. If you have a lot of Play-Doh in it.
Yeah, we remember to
Here,
slide
restart.
it down inside. I just knocked it. See, I just knocked it. I wish I would make this one so big, so I feel like I should redo that one.
But see, guys, this is what it'll look like whenever it's done.
Is this one
We gotta use these for the other classes.
Does he have
No, they didn't because they won't harden. Well, I mean, they would over a long period of time, but they would fall apart.
How will we know which one's what? Because they're gonna have to use it.
Just good.
What did they ask me? Was it the same thing that was torn wrong?
Keep going.
Cody, how you doing?
Yep, you can do it as big as you want.
Looks good.
I'm just going in. That looks really good. Good job, Shayna.
There we go. Well, this wasn't long enough, so I had to do it like that. Look, I meant to, right?
It's bad. It's terrible.
Look at my snake.
So if you have a hold, you remember what the guy did? He's kind of smooth them out.
It's
With his thumbprint. Yeah, good job.
I need help. How we need it?
When I help Mason, me and Mason help each other. Me and Mason help each other.
You work on yours.
You guys are doing good.
Mason?
They're doing good.
That looks good,
I
Cody.
can actually make one.
I like it. It's different. Not everybody's gonna look the same. And you remember how the guy have his thumbprint had a jump out of that? It went in.
If you roll it,
You
you
know,
roll
like,
it.
how you turn it. They do. There are certain ways you can make your foils.
Now put all that
Look
together.
at me. Wait, where am I?
If you wanna try that, just make sure that you have a good pot because it's gonna
Good job,
be able to
Shayla.
carry something.
That looks good.
You think, okay, so say I was putting dirt in it. Do you think I get a lot of dirt in it? Why not?
No, wait, no, I'm sorry.
So just make it a little bit taller. As much as you can.
I know who's that.
What's that?
Did somebody get like a positive or? Yeah, it was me. Did you get a positive or good? Yeah. What's that?
Hi, Valerie.
Do I stop?
Oh, that's right. She was in first grade.
Hi, Valerie.
You got the Speedway coffee. It's good, isn't it?
Done.
Valerie.
It's so fun to learn, Sarah. Look how, see,
You have your science binder? Yes, little seat.
Can you make another one? Keep going. Use your plate to quilt. Fill in the hole.
I need to get a little bit more.
Just put it in the container. Okay, let's see if you can. Oh, let's see. Right. You can keep this over.
Yes, use that one. Be careful with it. It's fragile.
Good job, Cody.
So it might break. Because Play-Doh isn't, so Play-Doh is just, we're using that as a model, so it's not going to be as strong as the ones that, pots that the mound builders use. Good job.
So next time, if we get clay, next time can we actually do a real one?
Maybe.
We won't have the machine though, Cody. Yeah. You don't need the machine, you said you can do it by your hand.
That looks really good, Chase.
Thank you.
Shayla looks better than everybody. I'm gonna sneeze.
Yes, actually.
Does it look good?
That does look good. Pretty good job. So you guys got about 3 more minutes to complete your pot.
We're gonna do another activity with them.
So you want to make sure that your pot is sturdy. Does everybody know what sturdy means?
Yes, it's hard.
Make sure it doesn't fall or break. Make sure it doesn't have any holes in it.
Yes. go?
I don't know, we'll see.
If it dries up and you don't have no holes, see, we're putting sand and then we'll move Play-Doh. See, I got the thing.
Actually, you can go.
You'll see
I'm
what
so
we're doing.
small. I have a good idea.
Some of them might not have sand in them.
You think some people don't get this loud.
So, let's listen up here for a second. I have a discussion question. If you were a mound builder, what kind of artifacts would you want to put in your mound?
Sand.
You want to put sand in your mound? Is that what you want people to remember you?
Yeah.
You put water in your mound?
AB.
I put gold. I put water in food.
Water and food.
Or like dirt, and also you can use the water for your crops.
I put like sewing stuff, like to make like coats and stuff.
I would like to use a lighter and like put half of it water, half of it for food. If like I'm going to train, but like
Guys, Shayla was talking. Did you guys hear what she said?
I said if I built one of these, I would put a divider in the middle of it, put half of it with water and half of it for food. If I wanted to go in like that'd be a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
I think this is perfect.
Ashton, what would you put in yours?
So what would you put in your mound?
Dirt. If you could put anything in your mouth, what would it be?
So it's maybe something to remember you?
Gold. Cody.
Gold, that's a good one.
I would say chocolate.
Hey, listen up, Cody's
Guys.
talking.
Cody's talking.
I put food, water, and gold in there.
Okay.
Scratch for the years.
What's something that, okay, so say you like to paint. Would you maybe put paintbrushes in there?
Yeah.
I would this
Okay.
is what I would put my Xbox.
Your Xbox.
There we go.
I switch.
Ashton,
Mine's
just-
falling apart.
I'll put my switch. You could use it as a phone for your
Paris.
I could like you can get like rocks. I don't think it's like crystals and like collectors.
We need to restart.
Okay, so, yes. So you're gonna take your coil pots, and remember how we told you want to make sure there aren't any holes in it, and that it's pretty sturdy, it's not gonna fall. So what you're gonna do with your pot, we'll dismiss you by tables or by a row.
I need to restart because mine was falling down.
You better hurry up. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your coil pot up here, and I'll demonstrate when you get up here, but you're gonna bring your coil pot up, and you're gonna put sand in your coil pot, and you're gonna dump it on top of our ancestor here, who sadly passed away. So we're gonna see how many pot scoops that it takes to bury our person. How many do you think it would take to bury our person here?
A bunch. A bunch.
You think 3?
I think 5.
What do you think, Shaylin?
Probably the whole time.
Guessing about that, I was asking you a question.
What's your question?
When you call it bluffs, like everyone going through the train, or just one person at a time?
Well, we're gonna do one person at a time, but each person will be able to do 1 scoop.
I think probably about 15.
I think about 15. So these are our ancestors. Listen up. These are our ancestors' artifacts.
Be quiet.
Thank you. So these are our ancestors' artifacts. So what do you think these are? Paintbrushes. So what can you tell me about our ancestor?
She likes to paint.
Possibly likes to paint.
She's the paint. She likes the paint.
That's a good inference. All right. So what table? We're gonna do this row. All right, you 3, come up here.
Cody, Mason, and Carson.
So we'll start with Cody. So what you're gonna do? You want to start? Okay, Mason, you want to start? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your coil pot. I should have had yours as an example. You're gonna hold your coil pot in one hand. Okay, you ready? You're gonna hold your coil pot in one hand. You're gonna take your other hand and scoop in the sand because your pot isn't gonna be as strong. The mound builders use something more sturdy, but try and do it over here so that way we don't get sand everywhere. So bring it on here, yep, and scoop it in there. And you want to get as much sand as you can in your pot so that way we have fewer trips. Because we want to try and bury our ancestor.
Perfect. A lot, Mason.
So see how it's kind of starting to fall? I think you got as much as you can get in there. So take it over here and dump it in on top of our ancestor. So this is going to be our mound. Bury the brushes. All right. So once you scoop, go sit down. Don't destroy your pot. All right. Yep. So you're gonna scoop it in, kind of keep it down low so that way we don't get sand everywhere.
So how I did, of course, and I filled mine all the way up.
Yeah. So you want to get it as full as you can. So that way we have fewer trips.
I'm fixing every single.
So you're gonna want to make sure. Yep. There's no holes in it. Make sure your top is
Tight.
kind of closed and tight. Yep. I think you got it pretty full. Alright, so that's our second scoop. Good job. Go sit down. Alright, Cody.
I'll take mine foot.
Tip it, so yeah.
My hands are big, so I can do it.
Shaylin,
Dump it all out.
Tammy, Braden, you guys can go get mine.
Alright, sit down. So you kind of had a hole at the bottom. Some of it fell out, but that's okay. Alright, so you're going to hold your pot with one hand and take your other hand and kind of put it at an angle. So that way when you scoop, yep, your sand will go. Yep, good job. So you want to get as much sand as you can in your pot. That's 4. Oh, I guess he's going next.
I want to walk to see how far he is.
You write it on the sheet.
Braden, when you put sand in it, you need to
That way
sit
the
down.
sand, we're not making a mess. Good job. Good job. We're getting close, but not quite. You got the base of it though. Alright, go sit down.
Can I destroy my pot now?
Are you done with
Don't destroy your pot yet. Keep it up until Miss Meadows tells you. It's not gonna break. Listen up. Everybody needs to be sitting quietly if they've already scooped. And wait till your table to be dismissed.
Sand makes it harder. Mason. Seat, please.
So has anybody ever seen a mound before in person?
Me, at the mountain park. I climbed over the fence before to look at it.
So you know how sometimes how they're bigger? Listen up. So you know how they're kind of big. Some of them are bigger than others, but could you imagine how many coil pots of dirt that took for them to make those mounds?
I want to know. A bunch.
Six pots. Alright, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold your coil pot with one. So it's not gonna be a
We
strong-
should be sitting at a 0.
So take this hand and kind of fill your pot with sand. Keep it at an angle so that we're not dumping the sand everywhere. Yeah. So kind of get it down in the sand and scoop it like this. Watch. Good job. You want to get it as full as you can so that way we have it's still got room in there. I would put more sand in there.
Want me to pour it?
You can go ahead and pour it. Yours is kind of falling apart. That one looks good.
Too chunky.
Yours kind of goes out a little bit.
Okay, for the ones of you that are still building, you have 1 minute to get it done.
There you go.
Just put it in your container. We'll have extra pieces.
That's only 8 scoops.
We'll show you when we get it done.
Good job. I made it a little bit taller.
Guys, we're out of
Spill, but that's okay. You still got some sand. Alright, Paris, your scoop number 11. So kind of hold it down and use your
Okay, guys, if you're not finished, go get in line.
I think probably about there. Can we destroy the pots?
No, not yet.
I think
guys,
probably
just
not.
Leave it on your
11.
desk.
Mine's just
You're scooping
like
it down.
Guys,
So yeah, hold it down and scoop it in there. Get it as full as you can, so that way we get as much out of your pot. Because the fuller you get your pot, less trips you'd have. That's good. So hold your pot in one hand. Okay. And scoop the sand in. Yep. And get as full as you can.
Send mine there. I think this is terrible.
It fell off the base. That's okay. Scoop what you can.
Guys, look what I have up on the board.
Oh god.
You can sit down. It doesn't matter. So that, yep.
Yes, Cody.
I probably get negative since they're so healthy. Never gonna do it again.
Good job. You got a lot of sand in yours. We're getting closer.
We won't be able to do the number thing. Where someone picks a number and it's like, would you rather have like a phone or a TV?
Good. Okay, go ahead. I think that was 15.
Sit down.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's okay. Good job. That was good. Good job, Colin. Good job. So it's 18 scoops. Good job. Sit down. So I'm going to take it up here and let you see how close we got to building or to burying our ancestor.
Oh, we got so close.
So that was 18 scoops. We buried the paintbrushes within like the first 2 scoops, but you see how our person's kind of still up in the ground, huh?
That's what I did.
Yeah, Mason.
Well, maybe you see how there's a whole bunch of sand on the side of him or her.
Yeah.
You can like get into the middle and then take some of that sand and put it on top.
So after seeing how many scoops it took to bury our person, how much do you think it would take to bury someone like Ashton? How many scoops of dirt?
Like that.
If you had to guess, raise your hand.
130.
Raise your hand. Shaylin.
Probably about in the 500s.
500s.
It also depends on, you guys had small coil pots. The mound builders might have had one that was a little bit bigger, but still would have taken quite a few trips to bury.
Amy, how many do you think?
I'm thinking like 130.
130?
I'm thinking about,
Person.
I was thinking the 200.
200?
No, the 200.
300? 600? 700?
400.
Do you think you would get tired of filling that pot up? And also sand kind of just falls off to the side. With mud and dirt, it kind of sticks together and would build a little bit better than sand. Because you see how the sand, it doesn't stay covered very well.
Yeah.
It kind of falls.
Okay guys, so now you can crush your pots and put them back into the containers and put the lid on them and then line up at a 0.
What can I say?